Hi everyone and welcome to Armitage Seniors Session 1. I'm so proud of you all. For those of you who have done the Armitage Juniors program, congratulations for coming through now to Seniors. And for those of you that are new to this program, you are absolutely welcome. And I'm so excited to have you all on board. And I really look forward to eventually meeting you all, hopefully, at the graduation this year. So I'm going to share my story with you guys. Some of you, especially those of you who did Armitage Juniors, will be a little bit familiar with my story. For those of you who are new to the program, you may not know about my story, and so I'm going to share it with all of you. And my hope is that you'll be inspired by my story and that you'll have the confidence to know that you can achieve your dreams, you can be successful, you can go on to achieve great things irrespective of your background or any type of limitation that people may try to place on you. So when I was 15 years old, I made the decision that I wanted to become a trauma surgeon. For those of you who are not familiar with what a trauma surgeon is, that is a type of doctor, a type of surgeon who deals with traumatic injuries such as gunshot wounds or car crash wounds, for example. Now, you may be wondering why a 15-year-old girl would make the decision that she wants to become a trauma surgeon. And there is a backstory to this, which I'll share with you. I was coming home one day with my sister, and I remember hearing the propellers of a helicopter as it was making its descent towards a huge grass field in the middle of a big estate close to where I was living at the time. And anybody who knows me well knows that I absolutely love helicopters. So I got really excited and I asked my sister if we could travel over to the scene where the helicopter was landing. And she agreed, and together we walked over there. Now, when we arrived, I remember seeing a crowd of people gathered around, and everybody was just standing there staring. And I immediately knew that something wasn't right because their facial expressions just did not mirror the excitement that I was feeling inside. And so I turned to the closest person in the crowd, who was a lady, and I asked her, why has everybody gathered here? What's happened? And her response drained all excitement from me as she told me that a young man had been stabbed. And growing up in Peckham in southeast London, sadly, it wasn't uncommon to hear about young men losing their lives because of gunshot wounds or stab wounds. But there was something about this incident that really hit me in a deep way. And I think it's because I went from that state of being so excited at the prospect of a helicopter landing to then realizing that, oh my God, this helicopter hasn't landed for any good reason at all, but rather because a young man is fighting for his life. In that moment, I remember feeling a sense of anger as I looked around thinking everybody's just standing here staring, but who's actually going to do something to make a difference? And then I remember feeling quite disempowered as I thought, well, what can I do? I'm just a 15-year-old girl. So that evening I went home with a very heavy heart, and I went straight to my bedroom where I meditated and prayed and cried out to God, asking, what can I do to make a difference? And then the idea came to me that if I aspired to become a trauma surgeon, that would give me a platform to go into environments where young men are involved in knife and gun crime in the hope of inspiring them to be and to do better. So that is why 15-year-old Leanne decided that she wanted to become a trauma surgeon. However, in order for me to take steps towards achieving this dream, there were several obstacles and barriers that I would need to overcome because I was coming from a very underrepresented background. I grew up in a single parent home on a council estate in Peckham, which at the time was one of the most deprived areas in London. My mother left secondary school with no qualifications, and she had no idea how to navigate the higher education system. Out of my mother's 5 children, only one went to university. So going to university wasn't really the culture in my family. And there were no doctors in my social network, so nobody that I could go to ask, what do I need to do to become a doctor? So we live in the 21st century. I just Googled it. And after doing so, I realized that the first thing I needed to do was get really good grades at GCSE. And you guys are literally, focusing on GCSEs right now as you're in year 10 and you'll go on to year 11. And I encourage you all to set goals, because when you set yourself a goal, you give yourself a benchmark that you're working towards. And even if you miss that goal, you'll still do pretty well because you're working towards achieving something good, right? So I set myself the goal of achieving 10 A stars, which at the time or now would be 10 grade 9s, I believe. And to my surprise, I did achieve that. And then to kind of fast forward the story, I I applied for a bursary, which is kind of like a scholarship to study at a boarding school in northwest London called Mill Hill. And I was the first ever recipient of their bursary called the A Better Chance Bursary, which is a medical bursary specifically for a student who wants to study medicine. So I studied at boarding school for 2 years. On first applying to medical school, I got rejected from every single university that I applied to, which was very heartbreaking. But, you know, the reality is, guys, that statistically, if all of you in the room were to apply to medical school, some of you would get rejected. And in life, sometimes things don't always pan out exactly as we hope. And it's how we handle rejections, it's how we handle setbacks, it's how we handle these disappointments, which really determines, you know, whether we will go on to succeed in that goal or if we're going to give up. And I decided that I wouldn't give up. I decided that this is my dream, this is what I want, so I'm going to keep persevering. And thank God I did, because on reapplying to medical school, I got 3 medical offers, and I decided to study at St George's University of London in Southwest London. And I obviously have graduated, and I'm a doctor today working in intensive care, and I'm currently working in Brighton at the Royal Sussex County Hospital. So welcome to Armitage Seniors. It's an absolute honour and a pleasure to have you. I cannot wait to hopefully meet you at the graduation this year. I wish you a wonderful experience as you do the various programmes, and, you know, do your best, guys. You will get as much out of this as you're willing to put in. So, you know, speak to your medic ambassadors, speak to your teachers, really engage in the sessions, and I look forward to meeting you soon. Bye for now.